So it's best to pack your bags and join the army.
I've taken up squash as a sport. And I just found out that now in Brampton, 3 of the squash courts aren't being renovated. Why? Because squash is a very unpopular sport. And I thought, God damn it. Even the sports I choose are lackluster and nobody likes them, but I'm in.
That another virgin prom queen is knitting premature. There's one thing that I'm sure, it's that I'm sure.
Who is Friendly Rich?
We made a flyer one night for a show that we were doing. I was in this band called Studeniats, which means head cheese in Ukrainian. A friend of mine put my face on a picture of the Friendly Giant, and he wrote, "And featuring Friendly Rich." And ever since then, I've kind of taken this name, Friendly Rich. Even though I'm not that friendly a guy, once you get to know me, it's just... There's a huge sea of sounds out there, and we tend to not really celebrate enough the ugly in music. Harmony and beauty in music is a great thing. I'm not going to spend a lifetime mired in the muck and making ugly sounds, but I do think that it's a viable option when you're composing music. Whether it be a theme or a chord or a musical idea that makes you uncomfortable. It's not such a bad thing. It's not such a sin to throw that in your music.
We'll all get to heaven.
I'm not interested necessarily in making palatable music. And it's always funny when I try, because it falls short. It takes the wrong turn. Just say kids show and I'm happy. One set, a sock puppet, and a recorder. We got a show.
We got banjo, trombone, accordion, and harp. We got icicles and all the lollipop. We got a mozzarella sandwich, we got penny and a freeze. We got cartoons, bassoons, popsicles, and cheese. We got...
Please welcome to the stage, Friendly Rich.
Now listen here, what is the word of the day for tonight's show so that people know? What do you think the word should be, Stacy?
Oh, I think the word should be pingapanga.
Pingapanga.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone in the room says the word pingapanga,
Yeah?
Up.
You get a prize?
no, well, it won't really be a prize. A puppet
Ping
will...
pong balls out of the sky?
Who?
Ping pong balls out of the sky?
Not ping pong balls, but a puppet will get tortured. Even better.
No.
For example, Stacy,
We talked about this.
pingapong.
Violence is in my work. I've enjoyed an aggressive side of music. Russian classical music, it's got guts. There's a romance there for me. It's definitely in my work. It's why I perform on stage as opposed to just saying, here's a piece of music. I like to be conducting things by spreading my emotions into the group as well. We both feed off of each other that way, so it's a good thing. But I'm not a violent man. Like, I got in a fight once in grade 6 and lost. Like, one punch to the stomach, and that was it. I was out.
Hey, mommy, why are you talking to me in tongues? Blah, 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 blah,
People will ask me after a performance, you know, you work with kids? And I say, yeah. It's either me or Britney Spears, you pick. I think it's far more dangerous to have your television on than to have a character like myself. The thing I'm good at is I know how to perform. If I'm in front of a group of grade 4s, I know how to conduct myself appropriately. And if I'm in front of a group of drunk rock-ons, I'll do my best to please. I guess the audience thing is a weird one because there are themes, weird themes in my music. I've always had this dream to be able to appeal to a 4-year-old or a 40-year-old, and I'm not quite there yet. We worship Fender guitar. We worship these things that are expensive when we're making music. The clothes I wear are mostly used, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to take that value village approach to your music making and think that you don't have to have the most expensive guitar or the most expensive amplifier even. You just have to have an aesthetic and an idea, which takes a lot more, I think. There's a reason why these expensive instruments exist. There's a fine line between classical music and making music with whoopee cushions. A lot of the work I do in music education is based on introducing young people to noise as a viable option when making music. Not the only option, but I think they get enough of the order and the structure from their traditional music class. Kids need to see something organic and real and honest that shows them that you don't need a lot of money to make music or create anything, that you just need the spark of creativity and idea. And that, yes, recorder will always be there. That's why I kind of hit them at grade 4, because I think it's kind of my answer to the recorder. Yes, this could be what we call music and an introduction to music, but so can this.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, stop there. Really beautiful.
If it wasn't for the support of kids in this instance with making noise with them, I would not be taken seriously by the adults. There's something to be said there. It's a real hit with the kids. Some of the teachers are completely into it, and some are going, my God, this is not, Shania. I don't get it. Make it stop. I don't get Shania. Let's play happily together.
Are good. 2 legs are bad. 4 legs 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 are good. 2 legs are bad.
Making music in the streets, taking music outside, the sense of community that we establish with using schools from all over the Peel region. There's not a lot of that, of communal music making. I work with about 700 kids a year. That's a great little experience for them, and then they grow up and hopefully will have an avenue to be able to hone their creativity and have a voice for it. I love that idea. I think that that's the grassroots approach to plant seeds and have culture grow in a community. At that point, you really are investing in people. You're not investing necessarily in a building and crossing your fingers, hoping that culture will come. You're saying no. If we all do something different with kids in the school, then yeah. 20 years down the line, I joke about it now, I always say, Brampton's the next Brooklyn. Why couldn't it be?
dean of mathematics, and I'll never be the figure skating champ,
I felt like a
and I'll never be
bit of a misfit,
man in the attic.
going through all
I'll never
levels of education,
of all the ants.
like right up till today.
Friar in the chapel,
Like in my master's,
and I'll
I didn't fit in.
be a concert violin.
Undergrad, didn't fit in.
Read the word
High school,
infested out. I'll never know an original sin. I'll never
okay, well maybe
be
I should start my own school, damn it.
Shostakovich. And I'll
A
never
school for
take
misfit
a
kids.
six-pack to the beach.
The island of misfit toys.
I'll never really get the
I like
brain
these
to notice
these
that
themes.
we'll never have a world that lives in peace.
There's a lot of kids who don't fit in.
Put a hole into a donut.
I just wish we spoke to them with more respect and saw them as having more potential
English to
instead of just
Japan.
giving them a crappy grade and say, you deal with it.
I know I'll never be the Ayatollah,
Embrace the left-handed people.
but I know I'll always be your man.
That is the best option. To work with your future rebels and not ostracize them. I was developing a summer program at the U of T. They were grade 8 students, and there was this one student that everyone warned me she was a little different. She was obsessive compulsive, and she had Tourette's syndrome, and so she had her accumulations of interesting mental glitches, if you will, and she was fascinated and obsessive over Nazi Germany and Columbine. She kept going every week about these Columbine kids being heroes, and have you been on the websites? And so working with her over the course of several weeks, it became my goal to show her that Germany has many amazing things to its culture, but that Hitler isn't cool, you know? Any way you put it, Hitler's not cool. So I did my job. I kind of showed her Karl-Heinz Stockhausen and other oddball Germans who I admired, and took their approach, and we applied it all to music. Finally, by the end, was able to show her that maybe these guys weren't really as rebellious and artistic and creative as they thought they were. And that maybe, just maybe, that it was the wrong move, and she finally ended up seeing the light. We did a concert of O Canada in front of Queen's Park. We modified the composition and butchered it, essentially, and performed it completely wrong, but it was right. And she loved this approach, and she had a good time with it. So I sold her on this is one example of using an anarchist approach and having fun, but really doing no damage. And God love Canada for not making that against the law. Screwing the system from within. You're more powerful working with the people you disagree with the most. I went to a dialogue on what makes creative cities in Ottawa. The federal government caught wind of what I was up to, and they wanted me there to speak on behalf of Madman. I didn't know this going in, but they thought, we'll have one kook on the panel. And it was me. 30 people. People from the Privy Council and Canadian Heritage Board, and then there's me in a brown suit, and I'm slamming my fists going, we need more madmen in the school system. And they were agreeing with me, which was totally foreign. I was almost saying it to stir the pot. But they were agreeing with me, and it gave me a confidence in a way. Thinking afterwards, flying home, maybe that is the answer. Maybe we do need more. It's very valuable to have unique and kooky people working in the school system.
Are you a madman?
Am I a madman? You know, if you see me perform, I definitely escape myself. I think at the end of the day, I'm perfectly normal. Curb your mad thoughts and have a good impact on people is what I'm telling myself daily.